Video you just watched was of Martha Gonzalez, a former ballerina suffering from Alzheimer's, and listening to music was able to help her recall the dance moves of the Swan Lake dance. As shown in the video, you can tell that the effects of music on the brain is profound and honestly magical. So today I'll be covering the effects of music on the brain and the body. You might be asking why this is relevant to you. Well, it's because in college, a lot of us face immense stress from various different responsibilities, and music is one way of alleviating symptoms from the stress. And in terms of my credibility, I have minors in psychology and chemistry, and so the nuances and the complexities of the brain and the body is something that I am immensely interested in. And also, I'm interested in alternate forms for therapy, and music is one such method. Music has a powerful impact on our brain and our body, affecting us cognitively and physiologically, and it proves to be a promising source of alternate therapy. So, music on cognition, and more specifically, memory. So there's different types of memory. There is sensory memory, there's short-term memory, long-term memory, and long-term memory is what I want to bring your attention to. And more specifically, there is explicit memory and there is implicit memory. So explicit memory has to do with conscious recall. And in that, there's two branches. There's episodic memory that deals with specific events and experiences from your life. So think a birthday party of yours from 5 years ago. And semantic memory, on the other hand, involves general knowledge. And so think about like a trivia fact. And on the other hand, we have implicit memory. Implicit memory is also known as muscle memory. So remembering how to ride a bicycle. It's not something that you consciously recall, but it happens unconsciously. So here in the graphic, I have the episodic memory highlighted in green because a 2019 article by Lemire Coronoyer on the effect of background music on episodic memory has shown that episodic memory could benefit from stimulating background music as opposed to relaxing background music. And why this is relevant is because as college students, a lot of us report listening to music while we're studying. And so this study has shown that there is, in fact, a correlation between listening to music in the background and when it's prolonged exposure to this music, there is an effect on enhancing episodic memory in students. Next, music not only affects us in terms of our cognition, but it also affects us in terms of physiological effects. So music can positively affect heart rate and blood vessel function and can be used for stress reduction. A 2018 article by Julie Corliss in the Harvard Health Publishing shows that listening to music may improve blood vessel function by improving and relaxing arteries, and it can also help with bringing our heart rate and our blood pressure back to baseline after a strenuous workout, as shown in the slide to the left. And also, in terms of increased physiological effects, not only does a strenuous workout impact that, but also a lot of different stressors, as shown by the image to the right. And a 2019 article showed that there is an overall significant effect from music on stress reduction, and this article was called Music Intervention on Stress-Related Outcomes, published in the National Library of Medicine. Moving on, we've now covered music on cognitive and physiological functions. Now let's focus on how music is currently being used in therapy, more specifically, therapy to help Alzheimer's disease patients. So to the left, we have the Atkinson and Shiffrin model of 3 stages of memory. So we've already gone over the fact that there are several different types of memory. There's sensory memory, there's short-term memory, and there's long-term memory. But this particular image, I want to bring your attention to the encoding, the long-term stage, and the retrieval. So what happens is when A 2015 article showed different types of texts to people. There was texts that were learned with singing. There was texts that were learned with a silent movie playing in the background, and there was texts that were learned with no association, just verbally communicated. And this was an article called Music Enhancing Verbal Episodic Memory in Alzheimer's Disease, and it was published in a Journal of Clinical and Experimental Neuropsychology. So what the results showed was that when there was musical association, there was better learning and retention in Alzheimer's disease patients. And this is immense because it shows that this is a promising treatment method in one group of patients. Next, music therapy not only elevates cognitive function in patients suffering from Alzheimer's, but it can also help with patients suffering from depressive symptoms. And to the left, we have an image of psychotherapy, and there's various different types of psychotherapy. But the most common one used to treat people suffering from depression is cognitive behavioral therapy, which involves identifying and changing negative cognitive and behavioral patterns. And a 2010 article called The Effects of Music Therapy on Depression Compared with Psychotherapy, published in Arts and Psychotherapy, shows that musical therapy group that listened to classical music and Baroque music every day for 50 minutes for 2 months, when compared with the traditional psychotherapy group, showed more positive effects and significant decrease in depressive symptoms. And so this is important because it shows overall that musical therapy does indeed impact and decrease anxiety and improve overall functioning. In conclusion, music has a powerful impact on cognitive and physiological functions, making it a promising tool in therapy. We covered how it helps in terms of cognition, more specifically, episodic memory and recall in students listening to stimulating background music. And then we covered physiological function and how it helps manage physiological arousal, such as increased heart rate due to a strenuous workout or due to just exposure to stress. Then we went into how music therapy is used currently, and we went into 2 different use cases. One was how it helps Alzheimer's patients and their cognitive function, and how it helps people suffering from depression. And so the next time you visit your grandparents, consider listening to their favorite music. And as they get transported to their youth, now you'll know the effects of music.